Now, around this time, Lotus were, how can I put this politely, a little confused. They shamelessly attempted to cash in on the name of one of their previous stars, Elan. Accused of betraying their roots, they produced an open-top two-seater sports car, and thus the Elan SE was born. But the Elan was front-wheel drive. The purists said any car that bore that name had to have the power at the rear. But hey, the SE and later this, the S2, represented brilliant value for money. They were quick, tidy and phenomenally powerful. 150 odd brake horsepower in this, the S2, 0 to 60 in 6.9 seconds. It just didn't satisfy those Lotus enthusiasts. But hey, I've never been a purist. Nice car. Whilst the Esprit was getting more and more powerful, Lotus were losing sight of what had made them great in the first place, and they needed a small car to get them back on track, back to their original design and engineering philosophy. Originally conceived as a low-production boutique model for the European market, Lotus must have had no idea as to how successful the Elise would become. The lightweight roadster took the world by storm and reconfirmed Lotus as one of the world's leading producers of back-to-basics, grassroots, no-frills sports cars. Although powered by Rover's ageing K-Series engine producing a measly 115 brake horsepower, the low weight and fantastic weight distribution meant that the Elise is regarded by many, including me, as one of the best handling cars in the world. Such a fantastic chassis has meant the Elise has spawned several limited edition cars, including the 340R and the Exige Coupe. In 2001, the Elise received a bit of a makeover, gone with the cute bug-eyed looks of the Mark I and in with the altogether smoother lines of the Mark II. Power was up too, to about 120 brake horsepower, but what remained was the same remarkable handling and the frugality of the Mark I. So, no luxuries, certainly no ABS or power steering. Now on bigger and more powerful cars that might be a cause for concern, but not on the Elise. If anything, the lack of those driver aids adds to the pleasure of these wonderful cars. The interior has barely changed. You still don't get a heater, you have to pay more for a stereo, and carpets would double the car's weight, so they're done without too. The roof's much easier to put away on this model though, and getting in and out is easier due to the lower sills. Now, despite the slight increase in power, the quality of the chassis on the Elise means that it's always felt capable of taking even more power, which is why they've come up with the Elise 111, which I'm going to be driving on the track a bit later on. But in the meantime, if you think you want to get your grubby little mitts on a Mark I Elise, here's Ian Royle with a few tips.
The Elise has been a huge success story for Lotus, becoming one of the most popular cars of all time. The only problem is that with high demand also comes high residuals, meaning that second-hand deals are hard to find. A 1998 model with 16,500 miles is still going to set you back around £15,000, while a year 2001 with 7,000 miles will set you back £22,000.
Basically, it's a very simple car. There's very little to go wrong on it. There are no tricks, no traction control, so it makes it a wonderful driver's car. You get a lovely feel from it. It's very, very exciting, and even with the standard 118 horsepower engine, you can still get a feel for the road and a feel for the track.
With its superb handling, the Elise is the favourite of track day fans everywhere. The only problem with that, though, is the damage it can cause. Make sure before you buy that you check for any kind of impact damage: stone chipping, worn tyres, fading brakes and loose steering. If in doubt, have the car checked out by a specialist. Generally, the car is very reliable thanks to the Rover K-Series engine. One thing to be wary of, however, on pre-98 cars is damp. If you do decide to take to the track and unfortunately become unstuck, what's it going to cost to get you back on the road? Well, a new windscreen will set you back £280, a front wheel bearing would be yours for just under £40, and a pot of touch-up paint would be a snip at £7.